My name's Brett Wilson. I'm the Chief Information Officer of Australian Red Cross. Our organisational goal is to provide humanitarian disaster and emergency relief to as many people as we possibly can, and through digital technologies, obviously do that in the most efficient, seamless way possible.
Awesome. We're here today at Digital Edge. We've got probably 140 Chief Digital Officers and Heads of Customer Experience, execs who are responsible for transforming the way their organisations operate, and who are really driving the transformation in customer experience within their organisations. 2020 was the coming of age for the CIO, Chief Digital Officers, and the whole technology team. They really were seen as the strategic advisor to the board and to the CEO when the COVID crisis went on. How did you see that evolve within your own organisation or within the industry? And how do CIOs, tech leaders, keep that perception in the business now to keep on getting that business transformation to happen?
Yeah, I think 2020 increased the velocity of a lot of digital transformations dramatically, and it wasn't by choice. I think it was by necessity as well. And what I saw was we looked at the way how we could digitise that front end of a very manual, sort of process-driven environment where we had people initially, and then we had to digitise that process. So we moved to online tools associated with that. In regards to Red Cross, obviously, where we were at 2020, we were a very human touch organisation in the office every day. So overnight, we almost had to turn around and digitise that process around different ways of working. And I think what it meant for us is to keep that sort of momentum and velocity going as well, is making sure that we don't just stop. It's about continuing and making sure that we are adding value and making sure that everyone from the ground up to the board actually really understand what the value is of digitising and potentially as much as we can.
So Brett, digital literacy, ADAPT's research has recently shown that there's a big misalignment of executives, leaders and projects happening within organisations. How do you get that digital literacy at the board level, at the executive level, and the end users and employees within the organisation embracing new tools, new ways of working, and coming on the journey with the CIO?
I think, look, digital literacy at all levels in the organisation is so important, from the board down to the individual person who is using the tool at the end. For us, what we're looking at the moment is an education program with the board to make sure that everyone is on a level playing field, so they understand the impact of how digital technologies could impact Red Cross in a positive way. And then what we're looking then is doing some specific education programs around all the way down to everybody from our volunteers as well. And I guess what we're hoping to get out of that is the more digital literate we can make people, the better they can come up with different ideas and different ways of working through a digital sort of lens as well.
I guess when it comes to change, what we're hearing as well is people and culture are sometimes the success, but also the barrier to that change happening effectively. Obviously, embracing new systems, new tools, new ways of working. Do you have any hot tips that you might be able to share that you've seen have been successful within your own organisation?
Yeah, look, people and culture in our organisation is a fantastic area where they're focusing so much on change and building up that change management as well. And I think for digital and obviously the initiatives to be successful as well, it's so important for the individual to understand who's using the tools or the technology at the end, how it's going to affect them, and obviously the value that they're going to get out of it as well. But what it may also mean is they might do 10 steps now and then it might be down to 2 steps later on. What are they going to be able to do with that additional time to add value back to the organisation?
One area that I'd like to kind of touch on today is digital technology. So how is your organisation utilising digital technology to push the industry forward?
We started off on a digital acceleration program last year, and it's sort of at a point where we're live in a number of states at the moment. So what it was creating that foundational capability for that whole digital experience. So no matter whether you come in as a regular giver or a donor, one-off donor, or you might come in as a volunteer, our whole philosophy around it is you will have a seamless experience to jump between the three, and obviously depending on where you're actually at in that process, might jump you to give you your tax invoices for your donations, but it also might look into where your availability and where your skills are, and then where we can match you up to some volunteer exercises as well. For us, it's about getting the most use about obviously the resources that we have, but engaging with our members and volunteers and staff as well to create that seamless experience.
In terms of data, how is data making an impact on your business? Obviously, it's a big theme at the event today. Every organisation is trying to be a data-driven organisation. Levels of maturity across Australia are up and down, but where do you see data being key for you moving forward?
I think data is one of those renewable resources. It's something you can use over and over again. For us, we're very fragmented at the moment around data. Where we plan to get to is obviously to be able to help us make decisions around assisting humanity, obviously in emergencies and disasters. Where we have recently used it as well was the floods up in New South Wales, where we overlaid a geo data set of the floods and where they actually affected houses. And then we went and focused on those areas to make sure that those individual people who were there were okay. And so I think for us, as we expand and obviously become more mature around the data space, we will look at then determining whether we can share that information with other NFPs or other government organisations to be able to show where we're actually seeing that humanitarian effort needed.